Hey guys, Jordan here, back with another video. Welcome if you are new here, welcome back if you are returning. So today I will be doing a contour and highlight video. Now this video is targeting my wonderful ladies that are new to makeup and you want to know how to highlight and contour. I got you. Come here. Okay. You ready? All right.
Hi guys, so I had to go ahead and turn this into a voiceover because I actually lost the footage of me explaining what is contour and highlighting, the product that I'm using for my foundation, and the colors that I'm choosing and the brand for my contour and highlight, as well as the footage of me actually applying my contour and my highlight. So let us just go ahead and jump back into this once more. So the purpose of contour is to change and enhance the shape of your face using makeup. Now typically doing contour, you usually use a darker shade of concealer to change ultimately the shape of your face, and the purpose of highlighting is to brighten the high points and bring attention to the high points of your face, so it's kind of giving you like this 3D effect. So in my opinion, contour and highlighting is highlighting or brightening of certain points of your face, the high points of your face, while changing the shape of your face, to give you that whole snatched vibe. So the brand that I'm using is LA Girl Pro Conceal, and for my highlight I used the shade True Beige, and for contour I used the same LA Girl Pro Conceal in Beautiful Bronze. Now what you're seeing me doing right now is just applying the NYX Cosmetics concealer in True Beige, I believe, just to bring a little more brightness underneath my eyes. So what you're going to be using, you can either choose to use a brush or a beauty blender. I'm using the Real Techniques beauty blender because I believe that it applies the product more smoothly, because usually when I use a brush it tends to leave streak, and I don't know about y'all, but I do not like it. But if you're new to makeup, what I would recommend is play around with both and ultimately find what works best for you, because what works best for you might not work best for me, and you might prefer the brush over the sponge. So you just have to just play around with it and find what really works for you, because makeup isn't, you have to do this particular way. You really just have to play around with it. Now I used my NYX setting spray and I damped my beauty blender, so it's moist right now. It's not wet, it's a damp beauty blender. You don't want to use a wet beauty blender because it will just soak the product up and you're just not gonna get what you want. Alright, so using a upward motion, I like to bring the product up into the corner of my cheek. Oh, so I will get to the whole blending aspect in a minute, but I want to let you guys know that when I just started doing makeup, a technique that I use to find where my contour should sit is by taking a brush and placing it at the top of my ears and taking it down to the corner of my mouth, and that is where your contour should be sitting. If you do not prefer that method, you can actually use your fingertips to feel the lower point of your cheekbone, and wherever that lies, that is exactly where your contour should be sitting. So right now I am taking my damp beauty blender and I had blended out my contour first, and as I was explaining earlier, I use an upward motion just to lightly dab the makeup. I don't want it to be all over my face, I want it to be in that particular area, so I use a steady hand in a slow motion to blend that out. And also that's the same way I apply my highlight. However, when it comes on to highlighting where my contour is on the bridge of my nose, I like to keep the product right below the contour, because the closer your contour is together on the bridge of your nose, the more snatched your nose will be. So that's very important to remember. And so let's just fast forward a little bit through this until I get to blending on my forehead. So whenever you're blending the product onto your forehead, my technique is I take the product down to my eyebrows, because I don't want my highlight on my forehead to be too wide. Now, whenever you are applying product to your forehead, it basically is based on the shape of your forehead. If you have a more larger forehead, you want to situate your highlight right between your above, I should say, right above your eyebrows, and you want to drag your contour down as low as you possibly can to give your forehead a more shorter appearance. So that is a trick that you can use to shorten your forehead. I don't really have a large forehead, so I like to take my highlight up a little bit more higher onto my forehead and keep my contour around the perimeters of my forehead. So this will be based on the shape of your forehead. So the larger forehead, you need to keep your highlights lower, and you need to drag your contours down a lot lower, closer to your eyebrows. Now, using the excess from my beauty blender, I did use that to prime my eyelids, because this is part one of two videos. So in the next video, everything from this video will make total sense. So just trust the process. Now guys, I know I'm looking hella ghosty. Like, I'm not even sure why my highlight, sorry, is looking so white, because I am not using 2 shades lighter than I should. I'm actually using a shade lighter in terms of my concealer, but I do believe that it's that NYX Cosmetics concealer that I applied on my under eye is what ultimately caused my eyes to be my highlight, sorry, to be looking so ghosty. But trust the process, it's not finished just yet, and I promise by the end of this video I will not be looking like a ghost. Okay, so stick around with me. Alright, so to let everything look blended, I'm going back in with my beauty blender to go over my contour again, but this time I'm really blending my contour and my highlight together to let everything have a more uniformed effect, and to let everything, look blended and look together. You don't want to have your contour separate from your highlight. You really ultimately want to blend the two, into each other. It's kind of like a marriage. Yeah, so you're gonna need both parties to make it work. So that is exactly what I'm doing at this point in time. I do not like that line, that little circle area that you see in between the outer section of my eye and where my contour begins. So it is a blending process, or through the blending process rather, that you go ahead and eliminate all those harsh lines as well. And also, setting your creams also have a lot to do with it. So now guys, I just feel the need to mention that there are 2 types of contour. You do not have to do cream contour. I much rather cream contour, but if you are a beginner, I would recommend that you play around with both dry and cream contour and get a feel of both, and see which one suits your preference or which one you rather more, because as again, makeup is not a one thing fits all. What works for me might not work for you, so just play around with both and see which one works. Now I'm going in with literally this is the last of my CoverGirl translucent powder, and I'm just going in to set my highlights. So I'm not going to be baking this for long. I think I had this on my face for about 2 minutes before I started to brush it off. So anywhere you applied highlight, this is where you're going to be baking or setting. You don't have to bake. You can actually use a translucent powder to set your face, or you could use a pressed powder. I'm using both because to me the translucent powder is what sets ultimately my highlight in place, and then using the loose powder, I go ahead and set my contour, as well as to bring more life to my face, and also to have everything looking more symmetrical, more blended, more together. I go in with the pressed powder just to finalize and brighten everything up. Now, using the excess that is left over in my container from my translucent powder, I'm actually setting my neck. Guys, it is important, if you're new to makeup, you need to apply foundation to your neck, because you don't want to be looking, like you are wearing a mask. And anywhere you apply cream or liquid, you need to set with a powder. So too many times people apply it and they forget to set it, and that's when you start to get sticky and hot. But by setting it, it makes everything much more easier. Now, using my MAC pressed powder, I'm gonna go ahead and set my contour. Now, I am using a rather fluffy brush, and I'm just taking my time in an upward and backwards motion to blend and set my contour. And it is very important to do this, guys. You do not want to skip this set, because as I mentioned earlier, contour is what shapes your face. So if you don't blend it, or you use the lighter translucent powder on it, it will just totally defeat the purpose. So you want to make sure that you're using a pressed powder that is the same shade range, or in the same shade range as the contour cream that you used, or something that's like a shade lighter. That's what I would recommend. That's what works for me. As a beginner, I would recommend you playing around with it again, just to see what works for you. Now, I'm using the excess from the powder to shape the corner of my face, and that is my jawbone, because I want to get that snatched effect. And using a eyeshadow blending brush, I'm going in to set my nose contour.
So after that is done, I usually like to take my beauty blender along with the pressed powder. I dab the beauty blender into the pressed powder, and then I go back in underneath my eyes, just because I want that area to always be looking nice and bright. And I recently started doing this, guys, like a few days now. And this is one thing with makeup, it's never remaining the same. You're gonna do things that you're gonna stop doing, then you might start to do it again, and vice versa. But you just have to play around with it and see what works for you. All right, guys, so now I'm gonna go and fix my hair, and I'll be back. Okay, guys, so I know we're looking a little dry, a little bare, but the reason why I'm looking like this at the end of the video is because this will be part one of a series of videos that I'll be creating. So in the next video, everything will make sense in terms of why I'm ending this video without any eyeshadows or eyelashes or lipstick. But stick around and you'll see in my next video what's coming next. So until next time, guys, thank you so much for being here with me. I really do enjoy you guys' company. Thank you so much for the love and the support. I truly appreciate it, and I will catch you guys in my another video. Lost inside my thoughts, and when I start to think, oh, the dark, how close it starts.